This is feedback for Thumoslang for character renovation. I just read the whole thing this morning, 11 chapters of it, and I have a lot to say about it. It's a little hard to exactly disclose, so I will try with at least a beginning. Chapter 1, my story begins, and that's my story that we're talking about. I see that in chapter 2 with the title My Mental Chattering, in chapter 3 Self Navigation with Thumoslang. These are all really centered around me, around what I'm going through. We coined the term mental chattering, or at least picked it up to regularly use, and we referred to that as our internal dialogue that I so often bring up in combo because I have exclaimed that it's an issue and something that I'm working on. And chapter 3 is definitely something that I came up with on my own, self-navigation with Thumoslang. That way I can figure out who I am and how to move who I am through the world. We captured that on video much earlier, and seeing that early on in this book really makes me at first feel like this is my own work. Then we go to chapters 4 and 5, 4 being our first formal presentation, and 5, more mature and sophisticated with Thumoslang. Well, the story begins with me not being the presenter for chapter 4's our first formal presentation. We talk about how Alec is the one that spoke with the city representative, and the question was, why was it not me? And that, I think, was fleshed out in chapter 5, more mature and sophisticated with Thumoslang. So this book is also helping, I think it can help anybody, but for me personally, it's helping me look at my own story and seeing where my pitfalls have been, and I'm now seeing at least how much I've grown since that moment. So I feel as much good this book can do for the public, the general public, academics, etc., is doing me a lot of good by giving me a great window into how I was thinking even a week ago, and the tools to change how I was thinking. And we could see the tools to change how we think in chapters 6, 7, 8, and 9, starting with about the book Thumoslang on the Run. What is the content of the character? What is renovation? What is character renovation? And specifically in chapter 7, is there a list of 19 thumbnail definitions that form a web to connect with each other. These definitions basically rely on each other to make sense. And if you take one piece out, the rest of the definitions and the power behind them collapse. And we use this system of thinking to write Thumoslang on the Run so that people can build their characters up and notice how to navigate through the world. And in order to put this whole idea nice and tidy, we called it character renovation in chapter 9. And that's an idea that I helped coin as well with assistance from Nick and Alec. We wanted to explain what Thumoslang does to somebody, and I boiled it down to it renovates how we think. It revalues the words that we have been living by, or values for the first time. And again, as much as this book is good for the world, for the general public, for our adolescents, I feel like it's doing me a lot by going through these self-ethical practices. I'm looking at how my definitions have not worked, and then applying these strong, these rich definitions, thumbnail definitions Thumoslang provides, and it's helping me see that my thinking wasn't adding up before. And I could say that now because I can see that in order to be a character, there's a lot of small things to add up to know what a character actually is. One of them being purpose. And even to know what a purpose is takes many different elements added up to have a grounded understanding, a practical use of the word. Something that I never evaluated before. I just said purpose. That means what it is to be, what it is to exist, instead of having a mapped out way of thinking, a logical setup to how a purpose can be built. So as much as this has been doing me good in understanding, and as much as it's been helping people that we bump into and take the time to learn this kind of thing, it is now helping a group that we just met yesterday. And we could see that in chapters 10 and 11. Proposing collective one, and one new group met another. Because we've been practicing this, because we've been learning how to talk about this material and the subject matter and going through it, practicing it, have we now finally reached a level to turn what we do into a business. And we have met a new standard, I think, that allows us to reach out to people confidently, say, hey, we can work with you guys, show you our process. That has helped Norman, that has helped me build up myself, that has helped the group build together, and now we're ready to build as one group with another. And we started this process at the beginning of 2022. So to see those fruitions, that dedication finally adding up to something, I'm now beginning to see the light at the end of the Thumoslang tunnel and the result of really being committed to my character renovation.